Hello and welcome to the channel. I'm Phil from howtoff6.com and this is my new Let's Break Final Fantasy VI tutorial series. To see the full series listing, go to howtoff6.com. The content in this series is completely mod-free and doesn't involve the use of any cheat codes. It's possible to do this on either console, either Final Fantasy III for Super Nintendo or Final Fantasy VI for Super Famicom. If you like this video, feel free to hit like and subscribe if you enjoy this type of content. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to get Wedge in the party and bring him to the Magitek Factory with the airship. Okay, so start a new game. You're going to play the game normally until you get to this point here. This is the first time that Kefka comes to Figaro looking for Terra. Before you start this scene, I would definitely purchase a Bio Blaster and a Noise Blaster, and then go through this scene. When it's over, you'll notice that you just have Edgar in the party. Stock up on tonics, maybe grab a couple Phoenix Downs, and then go outside and save the game. You're not going to be able to save again until partway through the floating continent. So you definitely, up until that point, you don't need to get any of the items. You don't need to worry about getting this or that item, special items, things like that. None of this is going to be saved except for the experience that you gain on your characters. Character progression saves no matter what. But until partway through the floating continent, you're not going to be able to save the game. So it doesn't really matter if you get all the items or not. So just go back inside and continue on normally until the floating continent. So when you get to this point, you can just jump right back down to the airship. You're going to need to do exactly what I'm doing here in order for this to work, so pay attention to this. Once you hit the airship deck, you can immediately run over here to the helm and just click lift off. So this is the important part here. You just need to accelerate the airship and hold the accelerator button down, and while it's held down, press X once you're at max speed. Then just walk back over to the helm again and fly back up to the floating continent. It doesn't matter what characters that you pick on your way back up, just pick any characters. It's probably a good idea just to pick characters that may not be equipped, because the only thing that we're going to do once we get back up here is we're going to find a battle and we're just going to die. So make sure that you don't save the game now that you're back up here. If you do that, you'll mess the whole thing up. So don't do that. But now you can just die, and what'll happen is you're going to go back to that last save that we just had saved at Figaro Castle with Edgar. So, once you get back to the airship, don't press X. Don't go onto the airship. Just stay on the map. And all you're going to do is you're going to fly straight over. You can press start to open up your map if it's not open. And you're going to fly over here. There's a little military base. We're just going to land outside of that. Now, as soon as you touch the ground, you can save the game. You should definitely do that, because if you even take one step and get into a fight and die, then the whole thing is ruined. Yet again, you'll have to start over. So, as soon as you land the airship, save the game. Okay, so before you head on into the military base, just take a moment to put Edgar in party slot 4. That's kind of important because it's going to prevent some problems as we go through this event with Edgar in the party, who's not normally supposed to be here at all. So just keep playing normally for now. When you get to this part of the event, you're going to notice that we have Edgar in the party. See, he's in party slot 4 there. That kind of prevented any confusion for the game trying to generate Cyan's character and putting it in that slot. So that's why we did that. It saves some problems from happening, like going through the event on an invisible character per se. If anything like that is happening, you may have forgotten to put Edgar in the back row. So just keep playing normally. Now, when you get back here, you're going to notice that you have Sabin in the party. It's not actually the real Sabin, though. At this point, we've only met Sabin per se through speaking with the matron in Figaro Castle. That's where we got to name Sabin, and we got to look at him. So basically, his character object in the game took on his appearance at that point, as well as his name, but he doesn't have Blitz. He just has Fight and Item. I think this is because he's still one of the Moogles that you get at the very start of the game. Those share a character slot with each one of your characters, has a Moogle in there. Most of them do. So all that happened is when you speak with the matron, that one Moogle gets changed into looking like Sabin and having his name. But still doesn't have his Blitz ability, and that's going to be a problem later on. But I'm going to show you a way to get around that. So for now, you can just leave Sabin there and keep Edgar in the back, the fourth party slot, back row kind of. So just keep going through this as normal. So things might look a little bit glitchy leaving the military base, but you should be able to make it out of there just fine. Next thing you're going to do is go into the Phantom Forest. You're going to go ride the Ghost Train. So now what you want to do is go take a moment here to look at your party. So it's not the real Sabin, right? He's kind of a broken character. Edgar's not really supposed to be here. So the only normal character that you really have right now is Cyan. So for that reason, we're going to put Cyan in the front row. Now just go ahead and play normally and go and enter the Ghost Train. Now I'm on the Ghost Train, and you'll see this is the second train card that looks like this. It's the one with the Impresario on it. When you leave this train car and you go to walk onto the next train car, if you have any ghosts in the party, they're going to leave right now as we walk over to the next train car. So what you need to know is that Edgar is going to do the same thing. So what we need to do is we need to unequip the black belt from Edgar. On second thought, if you have the black belt equipped at all, just unequip it and leave it in your inventory for now. We're going to need that for later, and so you definitely need to unequip the black belt before you leave the Sabin side quest. But it's a good policy just to leave it unequipped. The other thing you need to do is you need to put Edgar in the front party spot right now. If you don't do that, there's a chance that you could freeze at this scene and not be able to continue. So make sure Edgar's in the front spot and then walk on there. And if you don't press forward as if you want to walk onto the next train car, what's going to happen is these two characters are just going to keep repeating this scene of the event endlessly until you push forward. So just press forward and then press A and walk forward. Now you're going to notice that you turn invisible. That's because Edgar's character sprite just kind of walked away, but he's still in the party in that first spot. So what you need to do is just put Cyan over top of him there and then continue on. So go ahead and beat the ghost train scene, go and jump over Barren Falls, and get Gao on the belt. Alright, so you jumped into the Serpent Trench with Gao, Cyan, and Sabin, and you washed up here in Narsh at the docks. So the only thing you need to make sure to do is unequip the black belt. Make sure it's unequipped, because you're going to need that for the next scene. So all you have to do now is just hop aboard. You're going to have to get through this monologue here. And when you do, it's going to bring us to the part where we just have Mog, the Moogle, and we get to select between the different side quests. This is the Sabin side quest that we're on right now, so that option is going to be gone when we're finished here. The only other two options are going to be Bannon with Tara and Edgar, or the Locke side quest. The one that we're going to take is the Bannon side quest. So just move on down here and talk to Bannon. And continue on. So now we're on the raft, so we're doing the Bannon side quest now. But because we haven't met Bannon yet, Bannon shares a character slot with Wedge, and when you do talk to Bannon the regular way, the first time that you meet him, that character slot, I think it's the 13th character slot, is overwritten. It overwrites the Wedge character with the Bannon character in that slot. So anytime that slot gets called upon by the code, it's going to bring up Wedge, and that's just what happened. So now we have Wedge in the party. I'm going to show you what you can do with him. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to Castle Figaro. So when you get out of here, just walk to Figaro. So back at Figaro here, what we need to do is we need to make sure that Edgar's in the front party spot here. Before we talk to Locke, we need to go through this event now to get out of this little area. So what's going to happen now is you're going to be in a party with just Tara in the party, but Wedge is still with us. Just keep walking down here to go and talk to Locke. As you're walking down, your character that's in the front is going to turn back into Wedge here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put Tara back in the front here. She's supposed to be here, and we need her in the front to progress through this next event here. So go through this event, and we're going to end up on the map riding a chocobo after this monologue. Okay, so this is the part where things get tricky. We need to fight Vargas. And normally when you fight Vargas, when you damage him to a certain point, Sabin will show up, and the rest of your characters get kind of forced out of the fight. And you're just left with Sabin, who gets condemned and needs to figure out how to use his Blitz command to progress through the game. So, because we have Wedge in the party, there's already 4 characters, and if we damage Vargas to the point where Sabin shows up, Sabin just won't show up. And therefore we can't end the fight because we're stuck with Wedge standing there not knowing how to use Blitz. So what we need to do is we need to bypass Sabin showing up and still kill Vargas. And the way to do that is with the black belt. It's easiest to do with the black belt, but if your characters are high enough level, you might even be able to just kill Vargas by doing enough damage to him all at once, that he actually dies before Sabin shows up. But I'm not exactly sure about that. This is just the best way to do it, so equip the black belt on whoever your toughest character is right now, and enter the fight. Once you're in the fight, what you want to do is just heal Edgar, like heal your party members, keep them healed, either using items or using spells. Don't defend or fight or anything like that. If you're going to use Terra's magic to heal, then just skip over to her character by pressing X on the characters that are just waiting to do anything. And so yeah, all you're really doing is just keeping yourself healed. Eventually, Vargas is going to hit Edgar enough times, and Edgar's going to retaliate and hit Vargas enough times that Vargas is going to die. And for some reason, the damage that Edgar does, or your characters do to Vargas, when it's in retaliation because of the black belt, that damage doesn't count towards Sabin showing up. A better way to put it is that nothing triggers the event until you hit Vargas, or you fight or defend or do anything like that. That event doesn't get procced to happen, so you just basically bypass it by damaging him with only black belt retaliation hits. Eventually he'll die, but it will take a little while. Okay, so eventually Vargas is going to hit Edgar enough times that Edgar's going to kill him with the black belt. And when that finally happens, you're going to be free to continue on. Just leave Mount Colts and walk to the returner's hideout, and then stay outside of the hideout. So now you're back to this point again. You need to do this the same way that I'm doing it, with the acceleration and whatnot. So just follow along here. All you need to do is, as soon as you hit the deck here, you're just going to walk straight over to the helm. Don't do anything else. And select liftoff. Then accelerate the airship to max speed, holding the accelerator down. Then you want to hit X. And then just walk straight back over to the helm and go fly up to the floating continent. Again, it doesn't matter what characters that you bring, just try and bring some characters that you haven't really been using, might not be equipped. Because all you're going to do is you're going to go back to the floating continent now, find a battle, and then die. And when you do, the game is going to bring you back to that last save, where we were outside the returner's hideout with Wedge. Alright, cool. So now you're on the airship. Just remember, don't press X. If you do, you're going to enter the airship, and you're not going to be able to get back onto this map where you're able to ride the airship. The helm doesn't work until you legitimately get the airship. So, just make sure you don't press X. If you're playing on a console, the only thing you can really do at this point is go through the Magitek Factory. But if you're doing this on an emulator, you can just save the game right here. You can save a state right here, and then go and explore what content that you can find with Wedge. But for now, if you're on a console, you can just go down here and park the airship anywhere. It's going to disappear as soon as you land. So it's really just one way. And then again, if you're on a console, you'll just want to save the game as soon as you land, because you're not going to want to take it one step and then potentially die and have to go through that whole process again. So save the game as soon as you land, and then you can go through the Magitek Factory. So that's how to bring Wedge to the Magitek Factory. You can't go any further than the Magitek Factory with Wedge, because part of the event sequence that happens after you leave here takes you to the Esper Realm, where you play as Modred. And he shares a character slot with Wedge and Bannon and Leo. So as soon as you go to the Esper Realm and meet him, basically Wedge turns into him, and then after that he also leaves the party. So that's where you lose Wedge. And that's all you can do with Wedge. So thanks again for watching, and as always, stay tuned for more content like this.